we've got our blade out of the etching solution and got it dried off, and I actually coat them with what's called Forge Coat, rust inhibitor clear finish that I get from Alabama Damascus, and Brad at Alabama Damascus recommends it, and that's what I do to all of them. Makes a nice finish. So we've got our giraffe bone cut down a little bit. We're going to go over to the grinder now, and I'm going to get as close as I can and grind some more of this scale down to the liners, being very careful not to hit our decorative filing. And take you over to the grinder and get back with you shortly. All right, I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of grinding on this bone here, but I do want to say you definitely do not want to be grinding bone without a respirator on. So I'm going to put that on and fire this thing up and try to contour these down a little bit. So once we've contoured it down to pretty close to the edges, and we can start seeing a little bit of shiny edges on the liner itself, what I do is I take them and I will at this point pin them together, both the handle scales, pin them together, and come back to the grinder and start contouring them where they're even on both sides. To the eye, just kind of eyeball it best I can, and then I'll start contouring the rounding of the scales while they're pinned together. That's the way I do it anyway. All right, at this point, we've got our liners pinned together. We've got some more grinding and sanding to do, but you can see I'm very close to the liner now inside the scale, still not down to the metal there, but we've got it contoured, and I've got brass pins in it that will be we won't be reusing those. Probably grind them down with these at the same time so the scales will be even on both sides. Just doing it by eyeball, and then we'll be putting a 10mm hole in the center here to put my logo in. JB Knives. I don't know if you can see that. This guy, I think he lives over in Russia, made these for me. I had 4 sticks of them, and I just put them in the lathe and slice off however much I need, usually 125, 150 thousandths thick to glue the logo in here. Then we'll be doing a 1/4 inch, either tool steel or brass, I hadn't decided yet, on the bird's eye pivot area, one of the two. Get back with you shortly. we're contouring right now, and you see, you want to keep this bone heats up whenever you're sanding it. So I'm dipping it in the water, because if I don't, whether it's CA glue or epoxy, if you get it too hot, it'll loosen up that glue and it'll peel the scale right off the liner, and that's no good. So we're just going to keep on contouring until I get it where I want it. We got a long ways to go still. I'll be doing hand sanding and taking and putting the knife together and taking it apart. We've still got to put our emblem in. Quite a ways to go. I just wanted to show you a little bit of how I'm contouring. So I won't bore you with a lot of sanding, but that's how we get this done. And when we get closer, I'll be changing from, this is a 36 grit belt that's kind of wore out. You wouldn't want to use a brand new 36 grit belt on sanding the handles. I use the older ones, then I'll go up to a 120, and then ultimately a 220, and then I'll hand sand at 400 and possibly up to 600. So get back with you later. I think this is probably a little better view, a little bit better view in the light here. That's our 220 finish. We got a ways to go. That last video just wasn't showing up good. But that's our handles. It's going to be hand sanded and buffed, and we're going to match it up with that blade. Man, that thing's going to look nice. It's going to be hard to part with that. Oof, but it's going to a dear friend. That means a lot to me. I hope he likes it. Had to open the doors on the garage for a minute and let it air out. Even with a respirator on, there's nothing that smells worse than grinding giraffe bone or deer antler. I mean, it smells like 25-day-old vomit. I don't know. Sure is gonna be pretty though.